Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. So I wanted to ask you, do you live in the moment? Now I've mentioned, the whole goal is to try to live in the moment and from a place of love every moment. I've said that on almost every video. However, I haven't really asked you, do you live in the moment? So I wanted to ask you this. And really what I mean by that is, do you live in the past or the future or in the moment? So like in the past, is there something from your past that really affects you today in a negative way? Is there pain from the past that you haven't really overcome, or some event that you haven't really overcome in your past? Forgiveness, something along those lines that really drag you down in the moment. Like when you think about the event or whatever, like do the same exact feelings come up today? That's kind of living in the past, and you get kind of stuck there, and you can't move on, or it feels like you can't move on. You can't really overcome it. You just try to distract yourself from it. I've talked about distractions before, and you almost try to ignore it, but it's still there. Okay, and so you're kind of stuck in the past for some reason. I've mentioned before, I forget which video it was. I think it was maybe the pain video. But most of my adult life, there was pain from the past. And it took me a long time to get over it. But the only way I got over it is with God. Okay? It was partly my fault too. So I kind of held on to it and kind of told myself that I deserve the pain, type of deal. And also I didn't really give it over to God for a long time, because I kind of felt like, it was my own hole I dug, or I need to get out of this myself and all that stuff. So if you're telling yourself that, let me tell you, you can't on your own. It will always continue, and you'll always be living in the past until you give it over to God. And I mentioned before, God always uses what we see as bad or painful things for a purpose, if He allows it, for an expected end that's good. And so you really have to involve Him to get unstuck from the past, to help you overcome whatever it is that's keeping you snared in the past. Because I know for me, it was lies that the enemy used that stuck with me, okay, for a long, long time. And it may have been a demon I was stuck with a long, long time, and he just kept feeding off that darkness whenever I thought about it. The feelings would come up, those negative feelings and all that, just like it happened yesterday. So I was stuck in the past for a long, long time, really until about a year and a half ago. And so this was the majority of my adult life. But I see now what the purpose is. I see now what the expected end that is good is. But the only way I saw that is involving God, and I actually gave it over to God. There was one morning I just couldn't take it anymore. And He gave me a peace. So it's like you're not going to forget about things, but you will overcome them. And He will give you a peace. So like now when I think about it, those old feelings don't come up. Those are gone. I'm at peace with it. He showed me, he helped me overcome it and move on. And so I want to bring this to your awareness because really most of my life I just tried to distract myself from it. Okay? And you'll never overcome it, never be at peace unless you overcome it. But the only way to do that is with God. Okay? So involve him. Give it over to God. You don't deserve pain. Okay? Well, we're not worthy of God's love and grace, but he doesn't want us to be stuck there in pain. Okay? He loves us. He loves you. So, are you living in the past? Or are you living in the future? Are you always worried about all the what ifs scenarios? The maybes? Are you not content at the moment because you're always constantly thinking you need something else to fulfill you? So you're always looking in the future because you don't see it that you already have it in the present or in the moment. You're always concentrating, and it almost, when you're focused on that and you think what's better or what's like your peace and your happiness is in the future, you'll never obtain it because it's always in the future. It's never right now. It's never in the moment. Okay? This goes kind of in part to like having our own ambitions, our own expectations, and thinking that worldly things will give us what we really want, which is the happiness, joy, peace, all that I've mentioned before. Those don't come from dead things. They don't come from worldly things. They don't come from temporary things. And so you're constantly chasing it because what you think will give it to you, and then you realize it doesn't give it to you, or it wears off because it's temporary, just because you think it is giving it to you for a moment, but you realize it's not. Okay? You're constantly chasing. You're constantly living in the future. And again, you're never really happy now because you think you're always missing something. You're thinking you're always needing something. Okay? So you're never really at peace and happy and joyful right now in the moment. And as the next moment comes, you're still in the future. As the next moment comes, you're still in the future. So you can see how that works. So if you're living in the past or living in the future, you really have to involve God to help you see truth, because peace, the truth will set you free, and it's freeing, especially from the past, and especially from the snares of the future, thinking that you don't have it now. You're not happy, you need something else that you don't have. So the truth will set you or make you free, and truth is God. Peace is God, because He knows you. He knows what you might be thinking one direction, but He knows the truth to fulfill you is in a different direction. So you have to trust in Him, okay? And He loves you. He is love. Like He's not going to do anything that does not have a good purpose or expected end that's good. And He is love. So for you to be able to feel love, enjoy love, and have love, you need to involve Him in your life. You can't get love from death. You can't get life from death. You can't get love from hate. You can't get light from darkness. It only comes from the source, the Almighty, our Father. Okay, so I wanted to bring this to your awareness because I know in my life I've lived in the past, I've lived in the future, and that's not the way to live, because you're never at peace really right now. And like Jesus even says, don't worry about tomorrow because today's got enough troubles. And to kind of go beyond that, I mean, today's got its own miracles and joys and like I didn't see a lot of things before in the moment because I was living in the past and the future. I did have my own narrow expectations that were on illusions, thinking that this will give me completeness, this will fulfill me, or whatever, but it was all worldly things and it never does. So I missed a lot of in my life that I know God has done, but it's those moments like I mentioned, like when it's 100% cloudy day, kind of like today, um, and then like you ask him for help, or you're talking to him, and literally the clouds will part just in the specific way needed for the sun to literally shine on you. Or just like that video, if you didn't see it, it was the "Do You Blame God" video towards the end. I mean, there is no coincidences, and his timing is perfect. You can watch it. It was towards the end, and it was coming to, the words were coming to me, and I got kind of intense there. I was like, it's time to come to the light. And as soon as I was said that, like everything you'll see in the video, the sun came out, and boy, it got bright really quick. I said, it's time to stop living in the darkness, and you can watch that. But that's the way God works. Okay? This world wants to tell you it's coincidences. I already did a video on coincidences, but there's no coincidences. He's the Almighty. There's nothing out of his control. Okay? And there's nothing too big or too small for the Almighty. But getting back to the question, do you live in the moment? Like Jesus said, don't, do the birds worry about what they're going to eat tomorrow? Aren't you more important than birds? The lilies of the field, they're clothed more beautifully than Solomon was, is what he says. And Solomon was the richest person in the ancient times, or in the Bible there. And the lilies were clothed more beautifully than Solomon, and they don't worry about being clothed. Aren't you more important than a lily? So, and really, when you hand that over to God, things work out way better than you could have imagined, because your awareness and your understanding is limited, and you don't know what the future is going to bring. And it's magical when you get in that place and allow him to lead you. You just need to live in the moment, like I said, and try to be love every moment. And when you're doing that, the choices you make based off of that will be the next step down the path, and he will do things for you. He will open doors. He will make straight your paths. So, going back to the questions, if you are stuck in the past, or if you're always stuck in the future, go to him and say, help me live in the moment. And especially if you're in the past, there's something holding you back. You need to ask him to help you overcome it. You need to hand it over to him. You don't deserve pain. He doesn't want you to have pain. Again, we're not worthy of God's grace, but he is love. He loves you, and he doesn't want you to suffer. He sent our Lord Jesus Christ, suffered and went through every trial, and was betrayed and spit on and all that for you, because he loves you. He doesn't want you to suffer. Okay? So involve him, go to him, and really try to live in the moment. It's just like literally walking. Like on the worldly thing, you kind of have a destination where you're going. Now the thing is in the spiritual, like in life, you really want to let God, because God's got an expected end that's good that you can't foresee. So let God lead you to the destination. You just have to take one step at a time. And to take that step, you got to live in the moment. And like Jesus said, today's got enough troubles and trials and stuff to overcome, because it's not easy to live in the moment and from a place of love every moment. That's hard enough. So please comment and down below, questions, thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking. Share if you know what I'm talking about, and you've and with God, you've overcome the past, or you stopped being trapped in the future. Share all that. Share your walk below, because I love hearing about it, and not just that, but sharing it with people that may be in that darkness. And everyone's on their own journey. Everyone has their own lessons. Everyone's unique. Everyone has their own relationship with God. So please share down below. If you like the video, please thumbs up, subscribe, ring-a-ding-a-ling that bell for notifications to let you know whenever I upload videos. And like always, stay strong. Try to stay in the moment. And God bless.